All right, testing 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It
Think it's
was,
working now.
yeah, it was on mute, so that was the problem.
Oh, okay. Have it. Okay.
So that if I'm on here, let's see. Hide that. Share screen. What do you see now on your screen?
Your PowerPoint.
Okay, so you do see PowerPoint. Cool.
Yep.
All right.
So Gamma leads Drought.
Because I'm going to do it regardless if anybody's on. So, all right. So we'll do a. You still see the PowerPoint?
It's loading. I think you're trying to access YouTube.
Oh, so you can see me doing YouTube. Okay, so I was wondering if it was doing the tab or if it was doing the screen. So it's using the tab. Okay.
Okay, I'm monitoring your YouTube.
You see the timer now on YouTube?
Yes,
Okay.
4 minutes.
All right.
Instagram, Facebook. Just Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, right? Yeah. Okay, perfect.
You hear music? Huh? You say you do hear music or you don't? Okay. Barely, I can hear you because the music's so loud here. So let's do this.
Okay. Yeah, I don't hear the
Okay, so
audio.
that means on mute. That's what it was on Zoom. How do I see my whole Zoom screen? Share sound. There we go. Now do you hear music? So I'm gonna go in 3 minutes and 16 and record it and be right on time. The problem is I can't see my
Oh, you don't see.
what I don't see is my whole like all my, the whatever you call them, control for Zoom. I see it now. Like to hit record. Like with 1 minute, I'm gonna hit record. How do I make sure she's putting it on me and not on like the other folks on
Can't
Zooms?
hear you.
You can't hear me at all? Hello, so my sound's not working?
Hear me?
I can hear you, but you're saying you can't hear me.
Oh, can you hear me
Can hear me. Hello? Okay. So when I'm presenting, if I don't wanna show other people on, how do I just show me? You know? If you can look it up. So there's no gallery, is what I'm saying, so it doesn't look like there's not people watching. Show meeting. Okay, there's no meeting. Those tools.
Recording in progress.
You figure it out?
Yes, here.
Alright, cool. Hey, Jane.
Yeah, fine.
How's school today? Okay, cool. Well, I am going to record this, so I'm gonna come off of this here, 0, and then we're good to go. And whoever just shows up, shows up. Alright. Alright, and go to close
Yeah, I
that.
think I can see it now, I'm Brian, but I don't see anyone joining. Any of the viewers.
I don't understand what you mean. You can see what? You can just see me, or you can see me, you, and James?
I can see you and James.
Okay.
So, but I don't see anyone viewing the live on.
Well, that's okay. We're still recording. We just wanna make sure we're doing it. What I'm asking is, how do I just show it so it's just me on the screen? Do you see the PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Okay. And then you see me up at in the top. So, but what I'm asking is to look up how to just so it just shows me. Okay, I guess we'll do it later. All right, well, welcome to the Lead Drought 2025. 5 reasons you're still struggling to get leads. And so, one of the things that is just exciting as I go through this process, or if I were to come up with a separate title, it might be How to Launch a Podcast And so if you haven't figured this out yet, the secret or the thing that I'm going to spend time today is talking about a non-traditional way to bring people into a business that you're trying to do. So some of you, let's say you're in the mortgage world and you want to be able to have folks that are giving you loans, right? Or if you're in the real estate world and you want to have folks that are giving you houses, or you're in the education world and you want somebody to come to your classes, or whatever the business you're selling, rockets, and you want somebody to come to your rockets, whatever it is that you're doing, the podcasting is a great way to make that happen. And so when we start talking about lead generation, or we start talking about how do we acquire leads, it's pretty different than how it used to traditionally be. It used to be where you could you could buy leads. Everybody that's around that wants what they're doing. So if I'm selling lumber, it would go out to all the construction firms, and we would have all these people that needed to buy lumber. And that's kind of changed a little bit. That's where we have the internet, we have so many people who are vying for your attention. And so for me, it's okay. So how do I get people to see what I'm doing, to see how good it is? And I truly, really just want to talk to people who want what I have. With 6 billion people on the planet, to try to find everybody who could use what you have is one thing. But with 6 billion people on the planet, I'm truly only looking for the people who want what I have. And so when we start talking about lead drought, we talk about, well, why has that drawn up? I used to be, when I was doing my loan business, I could call and I would get a list of leads and I could call them. And then my phone would start ringing off the hook of everybody who wanted it. But now, when I was doing margins, interest rates are up. Nobody wants to, there's so many officers that are out there who are trying to get that same attention that it seems kind of scary for some people to be doing it. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to use this technology called podcasting in order to make sure that folks are being able to get people through a podcasting platform to be able to do stuff. And so to kind of tell you about me and my story. So my name is Dr. B, and I have been an entrepreneur for as long as I can remember, since I had a paper route as a kid, since I, would work through, as I was teaching and I was in the education world. I always had second jobs or third jobs or whatever those were. And I just wanted to make sure that I was being able to make money. And I went through all these progressions to be able to do that. And so one of the things that, when I realized, so let's say like in 2019, I decided to get back. I was working in a homeless services place. I decided to get back into mortgages, start doing some of the same things that I was doing in the past. And somebody gave me a list, or they said, well, what you need to do. So what I did is I said, I haven't been doing this for a while, or, I've never done this in this way before. And so what can I do? And so I signed up, I was online and I saw, probably like you do, where there's ads that went out there. And I saw this place at this time, it's called the Mortgage Marketing Animals. And it was a phenomenal group of coaching and training. And they told me, here's how you're going to get leads for your reverse mortgage business. And so I got excited because I said, okay, I got to pay them amount of money and they're going to show me exactly what I need to do in order to have people sign up to do the business that I was doing. And so I went there. And so part of it was mindset. And I'll talk about mindset a little bit, and me believing that I was a person could do it. But I'd been in sales all my life. So I wasn't worried about the selling part or getting people. I was worried about, where are these people that want loans, in my case, at? And so they said, well, one of the best ways to do it is there's folks that are selling real estate. And the folks that are selling real estate, they all need loan officers. And so they got me really excited about, okay, so if they need loan officers and I'm a loan officer and they're in real estate, how do I get them to give me their business instead of who they're already previously given business to? And so what I realized in that moment is they said, okay, what you're going to do is we're going to give you a list of real estate agents. Well, we're not going to give it to you. We're going to allow you to purchase a list of real estate agents. And they went through a list of what they called qualified real estate agents. And so in whatever your business are, a qualified person is somebody who most likely has the ability to give you business. And so if I was selling seminars or as in education, I wanted to do this class that I wanted people to come into, then a qualified person would be somebody who wants the information or wants to learn what it is that I'm doing. I wouldn't try to go sell, this class and say it's on mathematics and learning how to do stuff in math to an English professor, because they wouldn't be what we call a qualified lead. So they said I could buy this list of qualified leads. In this case, it was real estate agents who had 7 or more transactions that they were able, that they've done in the last year, meaning that they are active. Because we know there's so many real estate agents out there that might sell one house a year or sell one house every 2 years. Well, that's not going to help me, because how are they going to give me business if it's only one house every 2 years? But if they're doing 7 or 8 transactions, then I have the possibility. Then what they told me to do is I needed to call these real estate agents that I don't know. So most of our world is called cold calling. And I didn't want to do cold calling because I didn't want people to say no to me. But I said, but I'm willing to do it if this is going to be what works. So within the cold calling, what I was able to do is I would call them up, and they said, what you need to do is you need to ask them to sit down with you for a cup of coffee. And when they sit down, you can develop a relationship with them. You can tell them all about yourself. You can find out all about them. You develop this relationship, and then you can tell them why. And there was a whole bunch of sections on, why that they would want to do business with you, why you're better than everybody else, why, right? The problem is I started making these calls, and I had this list of 750, and I was going to do this for 2 hours a day. And I figured I could get through 40 people a day. So I got on the phone and I started dialing. And I would dial and I say, hey, this is, Brian, and I would love to come and meet with you for a cup of coffee. And there was a whole script that was part of it. When can we meet? Tuesday or Thursday better. And you gave them all these techniques to get them to do it. And they were like, I don't want to meet with you at all. I don't want anything to do with you. I really, or someone would be nice. Why don't you call me back? Why don't you call my assistant? And I was failing day after day, hour after hour. I might be able to get 1 or 2 folks that would meet me for coffee. Then I would show up for coffee. So then I would drive out because I'm going to buy them this cup of coffee. So I would show up for coffee and then they wouldn't show up. Or I would show up and I would talk to them and they would say, well, I got something to do within 5 minutes. Or I would meet them. And there was a couple people who said that, hey, yeah, if I have any business, I will go ahead and give you, knowing that they would tell, the client, hey, there's 3 different lenders that you could, that I want to offer you. You can pick whichever one you want. And someone just straight out say, I love the people that I have and I'm okay with the people I have. And we're ready to do it. And we're going to continue to move forward. So that was, the process of cold calling. And so I was really kind of just discouraged because I knew that wasn't that wasn't working. That wasn't getting me to be that person that I wanted to do. And so, what I decided to do is, somebody had said, well, why don't you try a podcast? And I had done a radio show before and I had done some other stuff before. And I said, well, what good is a podcast going to do? Well, he said, maybe you could interview those real estate agents. And when you interview those real estate agents, you now have something they want, because they really don't want to talk to you, but they want to be online. They want to have an online presence. They want to do the things that they're needing to do. So what happened is now I took that exact same list, and so I got through, I don't know how many of them, but then I took the next section of that and I started making those calls to the same real estate agents. And I would say, hey, how would you like to be on a podcast? I have a podcast. It's called the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight Podcast. We're airing, twice a week. I would love to spotlight you on that podcast this week. And you can tell all about yourself. And I got a set of questions and I started putting together then what became the Mile High Real Estate Spotlight Podcast. Now, the difference was when I called for coffee, nobody wanted to talk to me. When I called for them to be on a podcast, they wanted to be on my podcast. And all of a sudden, 8 out of 10 people that I called wanted what I had. And so now I just had to start scheduling the podcast, and I had to start sending out an email, and I started getting people. And then I hired somebody who was there that was okay with helping me be able to, they would make the calls for me and they'd set up my schedule, and I would have these podcasts and I would go for 20 minutes and I outlined it, and then I had a follow-up program that went for 12 weeks. That every week that I would sit down and I would send them out an email, and after the podcast, and give them a copy of my email. And like week 6, I gave them a T-shirt that said, "You are, a hosted or special guest on this podcast." And all of a sudden, now I did that podcast with them, which we'll talk about a lot today. I did that podcast with them, and when I did that podcast with them, then I created that relationship. Now they started referring me business. Now I was able to call them back with a mutual, hey, has anybody watched your podcast yet? Have you told people about your podcast yet? Now I had a reason to call them other than, can you give me business? Can you give me business? Can you give me business? And so that podcast right away, within the first few weeks of doing it, became what we call monetized, which pretty much just means I'm making money as a result of doing the podcast. And so what we're going to talk about today is, how do we do this? How do we make this happen in a way that makes sure that you are able to get more leads coming to your business? And what I found out is these leads were not just for that time, they became what we call infinite leads, because now I have a relationship. So as long as that person that I did the interview with is in this case was in real estate, then I would have somebody that I'd have a reason to call, reason to talk about, reason to be in relationship, and reason for them to send me stuff. Now half that battle of finding somebody is all over. Now you multiply that by 75 people that I did podcasts for. Now I have 75 reasons every single week of somebody to call. Now I'm not going to call all 75 of them and bug them every single week, but I realize now that I have this new ability to be able to have this relationship as I'm moving forward. Now I have the ability to do something called, getting some sponsors to be on my podcast if I would like. I have the ability to have other people through matching services to interview people. I don't have to just interview real estate agents anymore. I can interview people that are supplemental to the real estate business, or to say you're doing classes for education, supplemental for your thing. So now I have the ability to create authority. Now, the other thing that podcasting does is gives you the authority. You're the expert in that genre now. You're the expert in that business. So now I'm the mortgage officer because I have this podcast and I can talk about interest rates or whatever it is. I now am the expert that people want to see. And so there's some caveats to that I said, well, how big do I need my podcast to be? Do I need to have this huge, giant podcast that has all these subscribers? Because that's when I think of being online or being an influencer or being out there, that I have to have millions and millions of followers. Now, I'm not going to say it doesn't help, but I'm saying that wasn't ever the goal with the real estate agents. My goal was to make them the local hero in their area. And it didn't matter how many people subscribed from, the Bangladesh or the Philippines or Africa or even Texas or California or New York. I didn't care, because if I only had 10 subscribers on that channel, I would still be okay. I would still be able to get that local present and be able to give that podcast now to the agent that we did the podcast with. And so as you can see, you can probably tell it could work with anything that you're putting out there. Anything, I guess if you say you're in business, or if I say you're in business and you tell me you're in business, you're in sales, right? So it works with any sales component. I don't know what it would work for if you're doing them that you don't. So now there's obviously some caveats of what you do and equipment and all that kind of stuff, and we'll kind of talk about that. But what I wanted to make sure that I did is, at the part of this video, at the beginning of the video, even at the beginning, I said 5 reasons you're still struggling to get lead. And so I wanted to go over those, because I don't want to be, say, hey, I told you I'm going to tell you these 5 reasons, and then I go and I don't tell you the 5 reasons. Well, here's the 5 reasons why most lead programs are not working for you. And then we'll go into some solutions as things that you could possibly do in order to avoid that in your world. And so one of the first reasons that it probably isn't working for you is that you don't have a budget. Leads can be expensive. I've had several people call me and say, I'm a lead person from all over the world, right? I help you get leads. I will get the leads. They're going to be worth your while. Well, at the beginning, so let's say I make $3,000 from the sale of a mortgage, and the leads are going to cost me on that first mortgage. That say the leads are going to cost me $3,000. Well, I'm already in a business that's not making money. That is probably because I need staples and I need other things. I need my phone to work. I need all these other things that I can't afford to do leads. And they were telling me, well, we can get you, for $1,000, I can get you, 20 people a day that you can call that might possibly want what you have to sell. And what I realized is they would start sending me people that weren't the ideal person. They weren't the person that was in my market. They weren't even people that were looking. They'd say, well, I have these internet leads. Yay, internet leads, right? That people went on and they typed in that they were trying to win a sweepstakes or something at a mall. And so they were trying to win the sweepstakes, but they got their information and they said that they had a house and that they might be thinking about refinancing in the next 6 months. And so now I'm obviously calling those people and asking if that is the truth. And what I found that most of the time they would just say, no, I just wanted to win the sweepstakes. Did I win? I'm like, I don't know. Somebody else ran that contest. I just got your information so that I could find out if this is something that you would be interested in. And so that was the biggest reason. I didn't have a budget. I didn't have any money to spend on leads. I'd spend my money on coaching. I didn't have the way to do it. The next thing that the reason that most people are stuck or don't like to do what we have to do is because they don't like talking to strangers. I didn't like talking to strangers, and especially didn't like asking strangers for something that I had that they probably didn't want right now. If they wanted it and they were the right lead, then no problem. I had no problem calling them. But most of the time, they wanted to hang up on me. Somebody else had called them. There's people calling them all day long. My phone, I am so disgusted with my phone, is because I get over 100 sales calls every single day, somebody trying to share with me what it is they want. Not asking me to do a podcast. Nobody's calling me to ask me to do a podcast. Well, some people are now. But in the most cases, nobody's asking me to do a podcast. They're asking me, do I want to buy what they have to sell? And they're usually not very good at it. And I don't answer the phone anymore. And so I've gotten to the point now where I won't answer my phone unless somebody leaves a message or I already know their name. And I think a lot of us have gotten to that point where we won't do it. So that even makes us hate talking more, because now I'm competing with everybody who called them and made them mad from the day before. I can even tell you that my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law moved into a home not too long recently. And so now, instead of the cold calling on the phone, everybody was coming to their house. And he said for like the first 3 weeks they were there, at least once an hour on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, somebody would come by and knock on the door. And, hey, do you want a security system? Hey, do you want me to help you with your lawn? Hey, do you want me to help you put your lighting up? Hey, do you want solar panels? Hey, do you want me to help you with your furniture? Hey, do you want me to help you decorate? All these things where people are coming in and they're trying to talk to them. And so they ordered some fast food, like on a program called DoorDash or something like that. And the DoorDash agent shows up with their food. He knocks on the door. My brother-in-law opens the door. What do you want? And just starts screaming at the guy for what is it you could possibly want? And the poor kid's like, I'm just trying to give you your food that you ordered. And he had to apologize because we get so bombarded with people that he just got so frustrated of having to get up on a relaxing Saturday to open the door for somebody else to try to sell them something else. Do you want the paper, whatever it is that they had? Third reason that a lot of people don't like making cold calls or don't like the current way that they're getting leads is because it's the fear of rejection. Nobody likes people saying no to them all the time, right? And so that fear of rejection is real. That fear of rejection can make your phone, if this is your phone, make it so heavy to pick up, because you don't want to call so them to say no. When am I ever going to make any money, right? When am I ever going to? No. And so you'll see in all the success books, it tells you have to be willing to go through the no's. Well, it doesn't still make it fun. It doesn't make it something that's exciting. I'd rather take the odds of not have somebody say no than somebody do say no to them. So that is something that's super important. So that's a reason that people are not in, stuck, or they are stuck because they just won't pick up the phone. So we talked about not having a budget. We talked about they hate talking. We talked about the fear of rejection. How about pre-internet pre-internet tactics, and the reason, like, I got this thing called the internet, and I'm supposed to use AI, and I'm supposed to use SEO optimization, and I'm supposed to make sure that I have good copy, and if you're not an internet person, you just like, oh my God, I don't know how to do all this. And we already know that nobody checks email anymore. So that's not a way to do it, because I don't know. I told you how many phone calls I get a day. I get 500 to 1,000 emails every single day. So what do I hit? Delete, 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 delete all day long. I'm not even reading most of the emails that I get every single day. And so now, how do I do this? I can't go to the store. I can't even stand in front of the store because the store doesn't exist anymore. Our traditional ways over the last 30 or 40 years of doing marketing and getting people into your store all over, the distribution age, where we manufactured all these things that need to be sold, and we would have malls and we'd have places you could go. That's over. Now it's Amazon brings something to your house, and if I'm not in the mix of that bringing to your house, then you're never going to have a conversation with me. So you just don't have the internet taxes we do. And then finally, the reason that you're stuck is the lack of knowledge, right? Because it's moving so fast. How is it that I'm going to use AI to be able to promote my business? And, I've got a couple books. I have a book, this one here called No, There Is No Tiger. So how do I get people not only to just read the book, because nobody reads anymore, right? Or very few people read. They want the movie. They want the entertainment value of it. And so as a result, if I'm going to sell this book, am I going to just go to the bookstore and get him to set it? I can't even go to a bookstore and get them unless it's a very local bookstore, because they say we order everything from Amazon, or we order everything on bulk, or we do whatever we're doing. And so if I want to sell this book, I have to figure out a way to market it. And I probably don't know how. And I'm sure I can go to YouTube and I can get, I don't know how many people that will share with me how I'm going to make my book the best. But then how do I pick that person? And so it just becomes so overwhelming. It becomes so just incredibly crazy to be able to do it. And that's why you're stuck, and the things that you've been doing aren't working, and we have to move over to something else. And so I'm going to kind of give you three core secrets here on podcasting, because we're going to kind of flip over to podcasting now and really kind of talk about, okay, so how is podcasting any different than anything else I'm going to been doing? And so one of the things that is super important to realize, and I kind of already talked about that, is you don't need a huge audience. That's one of those myths that is part of it, is you need an audience this big giant audience in order for people to know who you are podcasting. And what I'm going to say is all you really need is a niche that lets you figure out exactly who it is your audience, who is your primary customer, and now how do I target them to be able to see what I have. And so, I tell like local real estate agents, one of the ways that you can do it is you say, well, I'm not getting very many clients. Well, who in the community do you know that is giving you business? Well, I know anybody, because when we get home, everybody opens up their garage door and then they shut it back down, and they're in their homes and they're watching TV and they're scanning on the internet. So I really don't know anybody. What about your local coffee shop? Do you go there? I'm not talking about Starbucks or the big chain ones, but what about the local one? Who do you know there? Nobody. How often do you go there? I go there every day because it's a lot cheaper coffee than Starbucks is. So you go there every day, but you don't know anybody there. How about you interview the person of the owner of that Starbucks? It helps them, or not, whatever the name of their star, I don't know what else you would say, Star Coffee or something like that. I bet the owner would love to have you highlighting them so other people know that Star Coffee exists, right? So he's going to come on your show. So that's not going to be a no, that's going to be a yes. So now he's coming through that yes is being able to do. So now that Star, Star Coffee has more exposure. And you don't need a whole audience watching it because they can give that out to their customers and their customers can go watch it. The next secret is that, so one is you don't need a huge audience. The other, I guess, myth would be technical simplicity wins. A basic USB mic, a simple platform are all you need, right? Sound professional without communication. You're not needing all those extra things. There's so many things. Like this mic here started out, this is a more expensive mic. Now I think this one is in like the $300 range, but I started out with one, I should grab it over here, that was in the $20 range. Or I started, the first couple were just using the microphone that was on my laptop, and the camera that was on my laptop. Now I have a little bit more sophisticated camera. It's a 4K camera. Instead of that camera costing me, $3 to go on top of my laptop, it cost me 50. I think the one I have in there only cost me 100 to be able to do that. And so I have a much better microphone, and you can see it looks pretty clear. When we think about audio is the most important thing, then it's lighting. So I have lights here that are part of a lighting kit that is $30. And so as long as the lights are in front of me, I look pretty good. But what most people do, put the lights behind them. They don't know, right? Nobody's ever taught them exactly what to do. But if you have 20, that's so for less than literally $200, and less than, if you don't have anything, then we have these really cool camera devices. I don't know. I'm just grabbing mine because it's sitting on the floor so it doesn't ring. This is probably one of the greatest devices. If you see this right now, it has one, two, three different lenses in it. And this camera is better than most of the XLR cameras that were 10 years ago. The best of the best cameras that you could get are now inside of one of these phones. And then you can click on it. You can get a lapel mic that goes on there that clicks in here. How simple it is. I still do 3 videos every single day that I do 100% on this device that's in my pocket, that's ready to go 100% of the time, anytime, and the quality is just as good as what you're looking at right now. So the simplicity in technical things, and then let's monetize it, right? You say, well, how am I supposed to make money on a podcast? Well, one is that you get people that are giving you business that have never given you business before. There is a secret out there called Podmatch that if you're willing to host podcasts, they will find people to come on your show for you. Because that's probably one of your other questions is, where do I get people to come on my show? One, you're going to go get them. One, there's algorithms and platforms out there that will send people based on your niche to your podcast to help you get going. And not only are they going to send people to your podcast, they're going to pay you for interviewing them. I'm pausing right there because I just want to reiterate what I just said. There are platforms out there that will pay you for interviewing people that you don't know and you've never heard of. Wow. I'm making cold calls, trying to get people to come to listen to me tell about what I have. And on this hand, I have somebody who's saying, I will pay you money to interview people. We're just getting started on some of the possibilities. So those are 3 core secrets that a lot of people don't even know about the internet, and they don't know about stuff. For those of you, if you got some questions, go ahead and put in the chat, but we will move forward. So I want to kind of find out where you're at now, and thinking about where you're at. So, because some of you maybe have never done a podcast, never even watched a podcast. Now that I would find surprising. Some of you might have listened to them, but you've probably over your years heard or watched a podcast, but you never even thought about being a podcast host or being a podcast guest. In fact, you told me, I don't want to be on camera. I don't want anybody to see my face. There's a whole audio genre out there. Well, I don't like the way that I sound. Well, the way that you sound in your head is way different than we all hear you anyways. So nobody really knows what you sound like to yourself, right? And so that's one of those things that you need to make sure that you say, wait a minute, what do I need to look like? Well, what if I don't like my face? We will walk you through what that takes to be able to do and what that means for you to be able to do that. So that might be the type of person you're at. We will help you get going in this. Type two, second person that you would be is you've done a little bit, but you're kind of unsure. What I would call this category is the 10 and belowers. Like you said, I'm going to do a podcast and I'm going to try it. And you got to 8, 7, 6, 9 episodes. And 90% of all podcasters who start a podcast never do more than 10 episodes. And I would want to ask you this question because that just seems like an alarming rate of people who don't succeed or don't move forward. What have you ever done in your life that you only did 10 times for less than a half an hour and you were good at it? Wait, so you say 10, less than 10 times, less than a half hour. So that's 5 hours worth of time that I spent on doing something, and you were an expert at it after 5 hours of effort. I would venture to guess absolutely nothing. And yet you expect when you start something like this, well, I did my first podcast. How come I didn't have 1,000 people listen to it? Well, because you don't know 1,000 people and you haven't told 1,000 people that you exist. So they can't even watch it because they don't even know it exists. Well, I did all the things that they told me to do and it didn't work. Well, we're going to work on some other strategies because if your goal was to see how many listeners are listening to your podcast, you're in the wrong goal. Our goal is how much money can we make from you doing that podcast? And if nobody listens and you still make money, it was a successful podcast. Right. And so we start thinking about, so kind of work, we need to maybe move forward. The third type of person who's there is experiences. You did it and it's going fast, or it's happened, but it's just going slow. It's at molasses. We have something for you, ways to kick it into gear so that it makes sense, that it's working, it's happening, it's making things move for you in that place. And so that is something, that's the type 3 person. So no matter what type of person you are, here's what I'm saying. Every business in the planet, whatever the business is, should have a podcast. I'll say it one more time. They should, they probably won't, but if they want their business, because there's so many different things that a podcast allows you to be able to do. You know, one of the things that, just because for me, just showing you how some of this works. Like one of the things that we use a lot that you can begin to use online for your podcast is this thing called ChatGPT. And I want to show you just an example of the AI. So I think you guys can see my screen right now. I'm going to type in ChatGPT. And I don't know what the answer is to this, and we're going to find out together. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to type in, we're going to go to ChatGPT, and I'm going to type in this question. I'm going to say, I would like to start a podcast. I would, and you can tell I don't type very well, but that's okay. Oh, I'm just going to talk it because it's taking what I say. All right, let me turn this off. There we go, because otherwise I can't talk to you and type at the same time. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in here. All right, experiment, you have to work. So I would like to be a podcast host, and you can see the little thing going there. And as a podcast host, I want to find out how many ways it can better my life by being a podcast host. Please list as many things as possible that it would help me, not just to be an influencer online, but would help me better in life to be able to do. All right, now I'm going to click the button. It's going to type probably everything that I just said here. So boom, everything I just said here is there, and it's still. And then I'm going to hit the go button. It might have some extra words in it because I was talking to you guys as we were doing this together, but I wanted to see you how to do it. So here's the things that it's telling, man. Okay, so we're just going to go through the list, right? It's going to help you in personal development, improve communication skills. It's going to help you with active listening. It's going to help you with critical thinking. It's going to help you with greater confidence. It's going to help you with personal healing. It's going to help you with time management. It's going to help you with resource skills. It's going to help you with a creativity boost. It's going to help you with legacy building. It's going to help you with emotional intelligence. Now, that's just on the personal development side. Now we look at the professional growth side. It's going to help you with professional branding. It's going to help you with business opportunities. It's here going to help you with networking power. It's going to tell you with speaking engagements. It's going to help you with content repurposing. It's going to help you with SEO online presence presence. It's going to help you with product sales. It's going to help you with authority positioning. It's going to help you with skill diversification. It's going to help you with monetization. It's going to help you with job opportunities. We haven't even scratched the surface yet of it saying, and you can say in the 21 things it's told us so far, has one of them, we're going to help you get a huge audience. Is one of those things said, we're going to help you be an influencer online? Is any of us going to say, we're going to help you look better? Okay, so let's go even further here. So mindset and purpose. It's going to help you with clarity of mission. It's going to help you with goal alignment. It's going to help you with accountability. It's going to help you with empowerment. It's going to help you with your personal driven life. We're not even talking about the guests and what you're going to do for the guests and how it's going to help you with relationships and interacting. It's going to help you with impact services, community building, giving others a platform, encouraging transformation. And now it's just asking me, would you like for me to format this into a PDF, or would you like me to add more stuff to it? That's just a sample of the different things that a podcast can give you. Now, you tell me the last time that you were trying to get leads or paying for leads or walking door to door, knocking on doors, you were able to impact your own life in that many areas. And that's just a small snippet of what podcasting can do for you. Now you can begin to see why I believe that everybody who owns a business that wants those things, because we don't work on ourselves a lot. Like my life and what my life is dedicated is helping people become the person they need to be in order to do what they were put on this planet to do. So I want you to start thinking about what were you put it on this planet to do and how a podcast can help you get there, because I want to show you how to get there. Right. And so the next thing we want to start talking about some of the people. I hope you're feeling like I can do this, or you're feeling like I see a purpose in this, or you're feeling like, what if I change some of the things I'm doing, or even some of the money I'm spending on the lead generation? What if this was able to bring in infinite leads because it brought in infinite relationships? And so I think of like 3 people that I've worked with that I've been able to help create podcasts that are now being successful in it. So the first person is on there. That's not a picture of her, but is my daughter, Martiana. And so Martiana is an entrepreneur of spirit. She's just like her dad. She wants to get things done. I even took her down to the mortgage marketing animals so that we could learn how to do those coffee appointments together. And we realized together that it wasn't working. And I was able to start doing podcasts. And I said, Martiana, I know you're still struggling, but you should do a podcast. Well, I don't want to do a podcast, Dad. It's not going to help my business. Well, Martiana is, not only is she doing some mortgages, but she has a real estate staging business. So she helps people stage businesses that, not businesses, it's houses. So when people come and look at them, they look beautiful and people want to buy the house and they spend $40,000 more in the house because of the way that she staged it. So she got on and she just called it the Golden State, because she lives in California, the Golden State Real Estate Spotlight Podcast or something like that, the Real Estate Podcast. And she began to do interviews. And she did the same thing. She was interviewing realtors. She was interviewing, people who are in the industry. She would tell them a little bit about what she does. Her business now that she has, I said, well, how much money have you made on the actual podcast? Like, did YouTube send you any money? Nope. Did Podmatch send you any money? Nope. Did Facebook send you any money? Nope. Did Spotify or Apple or the podcast platform send you any money? Nope. Well, then how are you making money? How is your podcast now monetized? She says, well, because I have some real estate agencies now that I am the exclusive stager for, and they give me business every week. So, in my mind, and probably yours as well, all those folks came from a podcast, which means because they came from a podcast, she has that instant credibility that we talked about. And as a result of that credibility being available to her, she will make over six figures this year in her staging business as a result of her podcast. That's monetization. That's what it means to be a podcaster. That's what it means to be able to do this. Um, as I'm talking to some folks that are in education and I'm talking to some of the things that they want to do and the classes they want to teach, the same thing applies. You do the podcast, you have automatic credibility. You're developing all those things. So you're becoming a different person that's able to do that. And now all of a sudden, people are coming to you to do a business that has absolutely nothing to do with podcasts, absolutely nothing to do how big your audience is, absolutely has nothing to do with being an influencer, but now is something that is part of what you are, what you do. All right. So that's Martiana. Then I have a guy named Travis who is in the mortgage business. He called me and said, I don't want to ever do another cold call ever again. So we went through the process. We went through the steps. We set up the podcast for him. Now he's doing a whole bunch of he wants to be online. So he's doing Instagram reels and TikTok reels and Facebook reels and YouTube reels. And he has his podcast out there and he's doing these split things. And he's got, a virtual assistant that is helping him put it all together. And I see him out there every single day. He said that his mortgage business and his business, I guess he does real estate and mortgages, has exploded in the last year since he's had the podcast on. And so that guy's doing real good. Then I have, Kim, who said, hey, I don't want to be online. I don't like the way that I look. I don't like the way that I sound. I don't like. But I do like money. I do like making some extra amount of change. I do want my business to do much better. And so as a result, we started doing the podcast. And she's like, wow, I got all these people. She had a list of so many people that she had influence over. All she had to do was call the folks that she knows to start doing the podcast on. And she says, well, what if I mess up? And I said, nobody, I said, well, the good thing is, nobody's watching when you first get going, you get good at it. So there's like 10 people who saw that you were bad at it anyways, right? You don't want 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 100,000 people watching your first 20 podcasts anyways, because you're probably not going to be very good at it. But like anything, if you practice and you move forward and you keep working at it and working at it and working at it, then all of a sudden you get really good at it. If you're willing to do, Russell Brunson, who has a thing called ClickFunnels, who's a multi $100 million person, his first year in his business of ClickFunnels, he made over $100 million in that business itself. And he says, you just keep doing it as long as it takes till you get really good at it. And then when you get really good at it, oh my gosh, he says, if you're willing to do a podcast or like a type of class that you're doing every week for a whole year, you'll never have to worry about money again. Oh my gosh, if you're going to go through the steps of yes, and you will never have to think about it again. And so what I'm saying is, let's jump on the back. Well, there's too many podcasts out there. Here's what I would say. Sometimes when I talk about something, I'll say, my dude, my girl, listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying here. I'll even get a little bit closer. There are 6 billion people in the world. If you're just here in America, there's over 350 million people in America. I promise you don't need 350 million people watching your podcast. You need like 1,000. 2,000, especially if it's a business that you're doing. And so you don't need everybody. You don't need to be the superstar of the world. There's 400,000 podcasts that I think that are out there. Most of them don't last and most of them aren't in there. But there's something that you're doing that you could specialize in, that you're the expert in, that God made you good at. That could be the start of your podcast. And I hope we can work together and we can spend some time together and explore what that is. Somebody wants to watch what it is that you are putting up there. We just have to put it in a way, one, that it is entertaining a little bit because we don't want it, or educational. So it has to be those two things. And the next thing it has to be is something that they want. If you think about YouTube, and I'm not sure, it's between 80 and 100% of all YouTube videos are how-to videos. How to do this, how to fix my carburetor, how to fix a turkey, how to hang things up on my wall, how to put lighting in front of me, how to go outside in the rain and not get wet. Everything that you could possibly think about is on YouTube. And somebody picked up a camera and started talking. When I say camera, I'm showing you my phone, and started talking. And they got followers after followers. My father-in-law follows somebody who cuts wood in a certain angle. To me, I have no desire to learn how to cut wood in any angle. I don't ever want to pick up a saw in my lifetime if I don't have to. However, he does, and he makes cabinets, and he does it for his house. And I've seen him watch hours and hours and hours of YouTube on how to cut wood. What if that's your niche? And you now have these people who want to watch you show how to cut wood, and then you have something that you have to offer, and then they want to buy something that you have because you have a podcast that brings in all the rest of the wood cutting experts, and everybody wants to come on and listen to it and talk to. I hope you're beginning to see, when I talk about using a podcast to create leads, I'm not just talking about the things that you say or the things that you put on there. And so that kind of gives you an idea of the type of people who are doing. And so what I want to offer you, because I can't do everything, it's impossible, and I want to get your permission. I want to talk to you about something that I think, or I believe, that will help you be able to get this going in a way that you're going. And so I put together a podcasting challenge. The next one I'm going to do one every single month, but the next one I'm doing is on the 4th week of this month. And right now, as we're recording this special live one, we're in the month of May. So May 19th to the 23rd, I'm going to do a podcasting challenge. And in that podcasting challenge, it's going to be for 5 days. I'm going to go 1 hour a day, or actually I'm going to go 2 hours a day. If you are just what we call general admission, then general admission will get the 1 hour a day. I'm going to give you these incredible things. So like day one, we're going to talk about the big shift. We're going to talk about discovering why traditional prospecting is dead, kind of the things that we talked about. And we're going to ask ourselves, or answer the question, why the old ways of prospecting, or the old ways of getting clients, are not working. And so, and the word I put in here is why they are dead. And so we're going to go through that. And so we're going to make sure that you learn that. That's going to be our day one challenge. And then the next day, we're going to go to building blueprints. And our blueprints are, the question we're going to answer is why most podcasts fail before they even get started. Now, here's what I got. So the reason that you keep seeing me lean forward, there we go. Oh man, that didn't help. These are dirty. So that's why I'm leaning forward, because I know it's a little bit small on there. And so it's okay, because we make sure to get you a copy of this if you need it. Day 3, plug in and press record. So day 3, we're going to go over every single equipment that you need to get started, to move forward. Do you need a teleprompter? Do you need a microphone? Do you need lighting? Do you need, a sophisticated computer? Do you need lots of memory? We are going to go through that. What software do I use? I don't know how to do anything. I'm going to show you in that hour how to get going and have a podcast studio all up. You look, oh, his wall is beautiful back there. I'm never going to have a studio like that. Dude, I am in a bedroom, and I went to Home Depot and got some wood paneling. And I don't know if you guys remember the simulated wood paneling that we had on all the walls in the 70s. Most of you are not that old, right? Some of you are a lot younger. I just got one of those panels, for, I think they were $10, and put it up on the wall behind me. That's it. I would believe me. This is not a sophisticated, high-end, expensive studio. I don't have XLR cameras. I don't have, sound. We got some little sheets from Amazon that help with the sound in the room. I got a better. It is not that difficult, but I'm going to teach you on day 3 how to do that. Then on day 4, we're going to talk about traffic to trust. How are we going to get the people to watch your video, or how are you going to get people on your podcast? What you're going to do with them after they've been on your podcast, how they're going to become ultimate infinity leads. We're going to talk all about that. We're going to spend time in depth, me talking about each of these things. For, as you can say, in this 1 hour, I can't obviously talk about all these things. I'm going to spend an hour each day for 5 days, right? For you to be able to do this. And then the 5th day, I'm going to show you about all the monetization. How are you going to start making money, doing the thing, making money, doing the thing that God put you on this earth to do, or whatever it is that you're doing right now in order to make some income, so that money is coming in, so you can tell your wife, you can tell your girlfriend, you can tell your boyfriend, you can tell your neighbors, you can tell your mom, you can tell your dad, you can tell your cousins, hey, I make money podcasting. Now, you might only make $10 your first month in podcasting. You may make hundreds of dollars your first month in podcasting, but no matter what, we're going to make sure that we get you in a position that you're making money, so you can tell somebody that you, my friend, are a professional podcaster. And then we're going to cast that vision in order to figure out how we're going to make you the lifestyle that you want, maybe from the comfort of your own home. And so that's the podcasting challenge that we're going to do in that week. We're going to answer these questions that you can see here. For that general admission, it cost $67. You need to go to thepodcastchallenge.com, the podcastchallenge.com, I think, is what you're going to go to. You're going to click on that link. It's going to take you there. It's going to be a video for me. It's going to teach you how to sign up. It's going to teach you, it's going to tell you everything that you need to do to get ready. The one person asked me, well, if I can't make it all 5 days during this time, each of those sessions will be recorded. You're going to be part of a Facebook group. You're going to be part of stuff, so you'll be able to watch it for the next 40 hours, probably for the next week afterwards. It's not going to stay up there forever, but it'll be exclusively for the people who signed up for it. We'll be able to get it. They'll be able to watch it. You'll be able to watch it live. You'll be able to put your headphones on, hopefully at your work, and you can pretend like you're talking or whatever that you're doing during the time that we're doing it. We're doing it during the day, but I was also, like I said, you'll be able to access it at night. There will be some homework. Especially if you're a person who wants to get that started, because within 5 days, I want you to have a live podcast that's going up there with a guest on it, with you being able to do it. So that's all not going to happen in the time that we're doing it, because there's not going to be a ton of hands-on. There'll be some, but at that point, we will then get you going on your podcast within 5 days. Within 30 days, you get to be monetized. Now, as an additional, we want to make sure that you are successful at this. I have what they call the VIP experience. And the VIP experience this is going to be $247. I'm sorry, $297. I don't know where I came from. So $297. That is going to get you access to 2 hours. Now, the $67 is going to get you the how, like a workbook. You're going to know how to do everything. The $297 version is going to be personalizing this to you and what you're doing. So I'm going to get on. We're going to take a 15-minute break. We're going to get on right after we do the general session, and we're going to start out with Q&A. You're going to ask me questions. You're going to tell me what's going on in your business. You're going to tell me what it is you think you want to do. We are going to brainstorm together in front of the whole group as to what we're going to do to make your podcast shimmer and shine and move forward. We're going to have a special group that you're going to be a part of. We're going to make sure that you're going to have at the end of that time, I'm going to go through a personal evaluation. And so you and I are going to have a phone call after we're done with the challenge, where I'm going to just sit down with you, and we're just going to go boom, 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 you by yourself. So not only are you going to be able to ask the questions live in front of everybody else. Now, here's what's cool about doing it live in front of everybody else is you probably have the same question that somebody else has, but you're scared to ask it. So we're going to let somebody else ask. We'll have a chat feature where you can type it in and kind of hide behind the chat if you don't want to ask a question, but that's going to be available for you to do. There are limited spots for that one. I'm not going to do that with everybody. If there were 200 people that wanted to be in the VIP all at the same time, I can't make 200 calls for those 200 people all that week afterwards to make sure that they all have the ability. So I'm going to have to limit the space of how many people can have the VIP seats until the next month after that. And so it might be you don't get in because you didn't do it fast enough, and so you might have to get on that next one really quickly to be able to do that, because I want to make sure I answer and I focus 100% on you and your business and what you need to do to move forward. There'll be some options that'll be after that as I'm dreaming and thinking of things that we're going to be able to do together. But our number one goal is getting you set up to do a podcast as fast as you possibly can. And so once that's ready to go, we're going to do some like I said, we're going to do strategy sessions. So I need you to go to the podcast. What is the podcastchallenge.com, the podcastchallenge.com. We'll go ahead and put it in the chat here, as well as you go ahead and just type it in right now. Go ahead and get your seats for the next one that's coming up. As soon as you get there, you'll see the dates, you'll see the times, you'll be able to get on it, you'll be able to do it. And once that one's over, oh my gosh, you're going to be on the road literally within 30 days. You're going to be on the road to creating money with monetizing your podcast, and more importantly, creating leads. And here's what I can say. I know you can do this. I know it's possible. I was a person who did it. I was not a person who was online making. In fact, when I got ready to start this, I hadn't been an online presence for, I don't have one, right? I don't scroll. I don't watch Facebook. I didn't do any of that stuff. But I was able to do a podcast. And my podcast is called Journey to Freedom. And we have over 250 episodes now of all the podcasts that I've done just in the last few years, because now I'm getting good at it. And I can tell you those first 5 or 10, I'm glad nobody's watching them. In fact, don't go back and watch them unless you just really want to see some comedy. But now you see the podcasts that I'm doing now, and they're pretty well done. And that's not because I'm anything special. It's because I've done 250 podcasts. And so I've asked that same question of 250 different people and had 250 different answers. A whole lot of them are pretty close to the same, right? But now I know how to ask the question a little bit better and do that question a little bit better because I'm doing it all the time. And if you can think, I just want you to be able to spend 1 hour a day, 1 hour a day, 1 hour a day to change your life, to change your trajectory, to change what you're doing. And just want you to know that you can do this. I have faith in you. I believe in you. I think that it's going to be possible for you to do through podcasting, which you haven't been able to do in a long time. So go to thepodcastingchallenge.com, thepodcastingchallenge.com. Get your tickets today. They are going fast. There are limited seats especially for the VIP. That would be my suggestion, is get in the VIP. You'll be happy that you did. Again, this is Dr. B. Excited about working with you, excited about helping you. Can't wait to do it again. If you think that there's somebody that you know that could utilize what you just heard, I'm doing this webinar every Friday. I guess webinars it's a master class. It is a web class. That webinar is kind of jargon. I apologize for even using it in our world. I think Microsoft used to have something that was called like go-to webinar, and they kind of coined the phrase. And sometimes we just use that so much. But this class that you just went through, that we just spent an hour together, it'll be done the same time every Friday for this whole year. And so get the people that you know could benefit from this online. All right, you guys have a wonderful, incredible day. Don't forget, you, my friend, are God's greatest gift. He loves you as you allow him to. Check me out online, brianarnold.com, and we'll look forward to talking to you on the next one. You guys have a great day.
Recording stop.